Most of my students ask me how they can stop translating English in their mind and how they can actually start thinking in English. Well, it's a lot easier than you think. When I was a student studying American culture and literature, I had to read a lot of study materials and novels to prepare for various exams, preparations for the quizzes, essays, and research papers. Sometimes, because I was using English so much, I would forget some of the words in my native language and I would use English words to fill the gaps. And sometimes they would give me books about 300, 500 pages long, and I would have to read them in 2 days. And because of that, some nights I would dream in English. Now, it was one way of thinking in English, but it was also one way of being extremely annoyed. If you watch any sitcoms like Friends or How I Met Your Mother, or anything similar where everyday characters are portrayed in their own environment, you will sometimes hear certain phrases from these characters which you can also try to imitate. From Friends, I remember the saying, "Could I be any more?" And I kept using this phrase with my friends while I was trying to learn English.
Please, could she be more out of my league? Ross, back me up here.
He can never get a woman like that in a million years.
Thank you, buddy.
Could you want her more?
Who?
Dee, the sarcastic sister from What's Happened.
Chandler?
Couldn't be more out. They do me?
You know, like, okay. Could that report be any later?
He gets it back, pass to the middle, lines it up, and yes! Could that shot be any prettier?
Look at me. I'm Chandler. Could I be wearing any more clothes?
I also use the famous phrase from How I Met Your Mother, from Barney Stinson's, if you remember.
It's gonna be legendary. Trust me, it's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be legendary. It's gonna be legend. Wait for it. And I hope you're not lactose intolerant because the second half of that word is dairy. No, legendary.
So what I'm saying is, try to mimic these phrases and try to incorporate them into your daily use of English. Imitating like how babies do when they want to learn their native language is one of the best ways for language acquisition. But unlike babies, our brain is mature and it's more complex. So we can use this method with more precision and actually learn English a lot faster than them. When trying the thinking in English method, don't memorize words. Instead, learn phrases about topics that interest you the most. You can learn or mimic some sentences from either TV shows, movies, or articles that you have read. Try to focus on phrases that you think you will use immediately and frequently. Secondly, try to think about things that you say all the time in your own language, but this time think and say them out loud in English. Talk to yourself in English and describe in detail what you did that day to yourself. When your mind is used to thinking about certain topics in English, you will be able to respond much quicker when people ask you a question. Lastly, make talking to yourself a daily habit. Think about what things you would say in English and speak about them by yourself. After you start thinking in English without trying or translating anything, then you will have achieved a big milestone. As a side effect of over-immersion, there will be times where you will start dreaming in English. Now, this may sound funny, but it won't be that fun when you start thinking to yourself in English and you can't stop yourself. So at times like these, maybe you have to lower the frequency of the immersion so that you can rest your mind a little. Immersion and thinking in English are important things if you want to reach fluency in English. But apart from these, you will need to support your studies, and in the next step, we will learn how to make a study schedule so you can follow your program and reach your goals faster.